37 days in, we were supposed to be home. Our connecting flight through Riyadh was cancelled. 2 extra days in Sri Lanka. Fine, we could handle that.
Attention, please.
And then the Middle East crisis happened.
All airspace in the Middle East
Every
has been
flight
closed.
out of Colombo
All
in that
flights to
direction
Qatar,
cancelled.
United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and other destinations in the region have been cancelled. Please
Suddenly,
contact your airline
2
for
extra
further
days
information.
became 17. This film isn't about being stranded. It's about what happens when you stop planning and what you actually find. It started with a hotel that felt like a prison. It ended with the best villa of our lives. And somewhere in the middle, a stranger randomly played a song from my parents' wedding. Planned, it impressed. Unplanned, it revealed us. I'm going to show you our stranding journey, where we stayed at 8 hotels, from the most disheartening and functional to a villa that changed our thinking about what a good hotel actually does, with staff genuinely attentive and authentic. And I want to talk honestly about what we're going to do differently, permanently. 8 hotels, 1 corridor that felt like a prison, 1 villa that felt like coming home. Oh, and a night in between that would test any relationship. As I mentioned, BA cancelled our connecting flight through Riyadh a few days before we were due to leave Sri Lanka.
So off we go. Ahu Bay. Done. 2 more days to go.
We needed somewhere for 2 extra nights. We'd seen Ahu Bay on Instagram. 15 rooms, a headland between 2 beaches, a Buddhist temple within walking distance, stunning beaches. In fact, it turned out to be the best bedroom and bathroom combination of the entire trip. Sand that's almost Maldivian in texture. My lungs had been giving me trouble for 10 days. A cold caught from a woman on the Ella train had settled in my chest. And standing on the beach that morning, watching the fishermen put out, I wasn't moving at my normal pace, and frankly, I didn't care. The fisherman asked if I could use my drone to spot where the fish were jumping. I spent 5 fruitless minutes scanning the water, couldn't find a thing. Big fail. That evening I was playing back the footage. A loggerhead turtle, port side of the hull, directly in the boat's path. They had no idea. I had no idea. The drone saw what none of us could. That's not just a lucky shot, it's a completely different way of seeing, and I think that's the reason I fly it. Well, if there was going to be a wow moment, this is probably it. Right at the end of our holiday, our second to last day. This is a stunning beach, 10 out of 10. Super soft sand. This is almost paradise, isn't it? What a happy, happy place. If you're going to be grounded somewhere, Ahu Bay is as good a place as you'll find. But we didn't know then that grounded was about to take on a new meaning. So Mez, final morning.
Today.
What do you reckon?
Can't believe it feels like a lifetime ago we left England in January, and we are extremely lucky. We had the best adventure.
The Middle East crisis had grounded half the world's routes. Our friend Ayendra had found the last remaining room at Jetwin Blue in Colombo. Emergency accommodation, a perfectly decent 4-star hotel, and we were immensely grateful. Well, this is a bit of a shocker, and this wasn't on our bingo card either. We are
in Colombo. We are a day later than we'd expected. And rather than being back in sunny Blighty, we're stuck in Sri Lanka because of a little problem.
What did we see on the beach yesterday, darling? Well, today you got dead rats. And a really great big bonfire to boot. This is not what you want on your final day, is it? We'd been staying in places where you knew the name of the person who made your breakfast, where the owner came and sat with you, and then suddenly we're in a corridor that could have been anywhere, 100 identical doors, the exact opposite of where we'd just been. Colombo, we have a problem. I don't say this to be unkind about Jetwing Blue. It's a good hotel. It just wasn't what we wanted. And that, I think, was when I started to realise what we'd been missing. We needed to get out of here. We moved to Hikkaduwa House that morning. We just checked into our emergency stay hotel, and we've now got 2 nights in the most stunning place. How about this? This is the lagoon at Colombo, and I have to say, this is absolutely stunning. Owned by Louise, one of the sharpest, warmest hosts we've ever met. Hikkaduwa House was the exhale I didn't know I needed. We traded the Heathrow corridor for brass handles and marbles. It was full of fellow strandees, desperately searching for rooms and flights. Meanwhile, the red wattled lapwing, with its "Did you do it?" call, was the constant reminder that we needed a plan. Day 1, Qatar flight booked for the 2nd, cancelled, rebooked for the 3rd, cancelled, rebooked for the 6th, then the 8th, then the 12th, then the bombshell, rebooked for the 15th, 10 days away. And all of this against a background of growing economic tension. The thing about being stranded somewhere beautiful is that it doesn't feel like an extension of a holiday. It feels like purgatory with palm trees, 2 kilometres from the end of the runway, front row seat to every flight that wasn't ours. There were 2 people at Hikkaduwa House who'd been travelling for 7 years. Not a gap year, 7 years. Roughly 3 months planned ahead with an 18-month sense of direction. I asked how they stayed focused, how they didn't get bored of constantly moving. They said, the world keeps giving you new versions of itself, if you let it. I remember thinking, I'd love to do that. I'm just not sure I'm brave enough.
So here I am on the beach as the sun dips into the sea, but I'm sitting here waiting for the planes to go. Kamari is keeping me topped up with a little bit of fizz. That's so lovely. Thank you, Kamari. And the owner of the villa has invited a few of us down to the beach so we can witness the sunset and just share experiences and be friends and put the conflict behind us. So I have to say, it's really a nice thing to do. Australian, Belgian, Dutch, English, German, a whole mixture of cultures, breaking down the barriers, again with the Sri Lankan locals just being so lovely. What a gorgeous, gorgeous end to the day.
My chest problem had been flaring for over a week. Turns out there was a specialist Ayurvedic clinic directly across the road. I met the doctor. He didn't look at my charts or my scans. Instead, he felt my pulse. He looked at me through the lens of the elements. His verdict? I was on fire. Too much heat, too much water and not enough oxygen. It sounds like a riddle, but after a week of fighting airlines, it was the first thing that made total sense. I needed Anu and Siddhartha oil treatments. By the following morning, the coughing had almost stopped. I'm not making a health claim. I'm just noting 90 minutes cost 15 quid, and it worked better than anything I'd tried for 10 days. Louise, bless her, had organised a guitarist to lift our spirits. I hadn't heard this piece in years. It was played at my parents' wedding. He had no idea. Nobody there knew. We thought we were done with the worst of it. Sri Lanka had other ideas.
Day 7, we're at Hikkaduwa House. It's the classic morning. Crows going crazy.
As it gradually became clear that our Qatar routing was increasingly theoretical, no one was flying into that airspace, and every booking there was effectively meaningless, I turned to Plan B, India. All day, every day, planes climbed out of Colombo, heading north, Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai. India was the logical gateway home, with dozens of direct connections to European cities. Suffice to say, the process is not an easy one, especially on a mobile phone, and for some reason mine was granted and Mel's wasn't. Finally, we got both. What I didn't know then was what happened in the next 8 days would change my mind about future travel plans forever. I woke up and just thought, we can't keep fighting this. We're in Sri Lanka. It's beautiful. Let's just go. One place at a time. Stop trying to control it. It meant abandoning our newfound friends and saying goodbye to the amazing staff at the Hikkaduwa House as we headed south to Wadduwa. And awaiting us were astonishing displays of teamwork, and for me, the excitement of taking an iconic train along the coast. They say teamwork makes the dream work, and once again a group of 20 local fishermen are all helping each other out. Can you see the boat in the distance all the way out there? That's about 600 or 700 metres out. That's astonishing, and they're just pulling on a little rope. The holiday re-continues with emotion. We're here at the Villa by Contemporary Salon, and it's very quiet, it's very empty. Having seen the train, I was keen to get on it and get a more authentic experience compared to the underwhelming one we'd had previously on the way to Ella. While we had no precise plan, we wanted to stay within touching distance of Colombo in case the petrol situation worsened. Exploring by train seemed the obvious solution. What you can't get is the smell of brakes. How amazing. And the reason for coming here is I want to have a word with the station master, see if he can give us a bit of an idea as to when the next train is due, and could we go and investigate either later today, first thing tomorrow morning, so we can plan the next stage of our journey. Seems better to go down there for 100 rupees rather than messing around in the car.
And for the hell of it, we decided to go to Kalutara. This was an ideal opportunity to see how locals really travel.
See, if you're going to stick your legs out, you have to sit on the other side, apparently. I'll leave it back on that one.
To experience this train with no plan, no booking, just there's a train, let's get on it. That is not how I usually travel. And it turns out to be one of the best few hours of the entire 54 days. Hello, how are you?
While we wait for our train to get back to the hotel, we've just come to the little tiny stretch of beach behind the station, and it looks like all the locals have come down to watch the sunset.
And before we knew it, it was time to head back to Wadduwa, an unplanned journey that began a series of impromptu decisions that would define the rest of our journey. What we didn't know then was those storm clouds on the horizon was a sign of a tumultuous evening to come. We'd had a lovely meal next door on the beach at C&C. We walked home under the stars. Just before I went to sleep, I opened the BA app one last time to check that everything was in order. Our connecting flight from Colombo to Mumbai had disappeared, just gone. Not delayed, not rescheduled, gone. Sri Lankan Airlines had bumped us off the flight. I had to tell Mel. She was absolutely distraught. I then spent an hour on the phone with BA. Security question 3 times over, voice recordings being retrieved, 36 to 48 hours to resolve. None of this made sense. This is the point in the story where I have to tell you that, of course, it was entirely my fault. Anyway, at midnight, the supervisor approved the routing. The flight reappeared. The voicemail arrived apologising for the confusion. Mel, meanwhile, had cried herself to sleep. I watched the screen until the booking was confirmed, then put the phone down. What a night. After a fitful night's sleep, I was determined to make the most of the next 7 days and see the hidden gems most people miss on this part of the coast. 40 minutes south of Wadduwa lies the port city of Ambalangoda. We were due to stay one night at Kelly's, and the beach turned out to be one of the best on the entire trip. Close by there's plenty to do, with the Madu River, with mangrove channels, a cinnamon island, fish farms, a completely different Sri Lanka from the previous 2 days. And then you have the Ambalangoda Mask and Puppet Museum, which sounds like it should be a half-hearted tourist trap. It isn't. That's our place, that's at Kelly's. Look at this. This is divine. Ooh, gosh. Ambalangoda. Morning rituals. We're actually looking for a place that sells coffee, and any good places we found don't open until 9 o'clock, and it's still 8:15. We were supposed to go to the Mask Museum, advertised as opening is 8 o'clock, and that doesn't open until 8:30 at least. So we're just filling time. This is where it happens. This is the indoor marketplace.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Very good.
Ah,
It's a lovely little market, isn't it?
good.
What do you have? Morning glory?
Good morning. This one here, go this one salad.
Salads?
Washing after it, no cook.
Yes, no
Yeah.
cook.
This one orange juice, orange.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice,
Very
lovely.
good. Oh, Sri Lanka, very lot of people, very kind people.
Very kind people.
Kind
You're
people, yeah.
particularly kind.
Very kind.
Very kind.
No wife, no baby.
Wife is here. Here she is.
Yeah, outside.
Yes.
Yeah, outside.
How much is that one?
This one.
20?
This one local price. Local price 100. One piece 100.
Go on then,
Yes.
I'll give you
It's a
100 for
local
that.
price.
It's an orange,
Yeah.
yes? How lovely is this? When you're desperate for a cup of coffee in the morning, this is the perfect place to come and stop.
Just as an illustration of how wonderful the people of Sri Lanka are, someone saw us waiting for the cafe to open,
Goodness
shot off
me.
in his tuk-tuk to get the owner to open up. And these pancakes were just too good to miss. In the Mask Museum are traditional Kolam and Sakari dance masks, ceremonial, medicinal, narrative made of Hikkaduwa wood. Some are hundreds of years old. We had the place completely to ourselves.
You're doing the peacock?
Yeah.
Protection?
Good luck, pig.
Good luck, peacock.
Yeah.
Not finished.
Yeah.
How long does that take?
I need 2 days. This one.
2 days.
Yeah. Yesterday half. Today start now.
My
Very
goodness.
pretty.
Well done. Thank you.
Amila from At Kelly's had kindly agreed to drive us to and from the captain's boathouse so we could do the Madu River cruise. So in my rush to get here for this wonderful Captain Hook discovery course with the captain himself, he's having a quick sniff of gin. That is classic, he's having a quick sniff of captain's gin. And I have forgotten my GoPro, so I have to do all my digital content this afternoon with my phone. Hope that's okay. First things first, safety. So, now, tell me about what we're about to do.
We're at the Captain's Boathouse and we're off on a mangrove tour, I think. I'm not quite sure.
Mangroves, crocodiles, all sorts of bird life. Fantastic. Sunset cruise down the Madu River. Okay. Mangroves are quietly saving our planet. It was a fascinating afternoon pottering around the river, and we even got to see how cinnamon sticks are made. But nothing was more chilled than this fella sitting in the tree. Meanwhile, it was time to move on. Hikkaduwa has a reputation. We nearly skipped it. Serious mistake. Hikkaduwa has a reputation. Backpacker Central, tourist town, the kind of words that make you quietly book somewhere else. We nearly did. But boy oh boy, we're so glad we didn't. So it turned out we loved Hikkaduwa. Long beach walks, so many great places to eat and drink. But for me, just sitting on the beach, early mornings or at sunset, watching the surfers do their thing, was the complete antidote we needed for all the stress that we had. When we were back in Wadduwa, I'd been toying with where to stay for the last night or two, particularly after that awful experience with the BA app. The place I wanted to visit and potentially stay at was quite expensive, so I thought I'd go and take a look as soon as we got to Hikkaduwa. to Colombo. So we tried to get a tuk-tuk, didn't we, darling, to a very expensive hotel, and the guy tripled the price. So we
He just heard the name and thought,
oh, right, what can we get from these guys? So we've actually chosen somewhere that isn't where we want to go, but close, and it's half the price. So here we are.
Tucked away on a hill, a 10-minute tuk-tuk drive from the beach, Haritha Villas is a dream spot for honeymooners. For our final 2 nights, we wanted to end the stranding on a high. We'd seen it online, but it was a massive stretch for the budget. So we took a tuk-tuk up the hill, blagged our way in, just to have a look to see if it was worth it. We decided 2 nights would be the perfect reward. 3 would be financially reckless, so we spent 1 night decompressing at Tropical House to balance the books.
Morning from Hikkaduwa. We're in a tuk-tuk on our way to see some turtles, hopefully in an ethical way, if that is at all possible. We won't be touching, we won't be feeding them, we're just going to be looking at them. Much as I look at my wife, I don't feed her, I don't touch her. Right, slight problem. Has anyone seen any turtles? I'm in Turtle Alley. There's quite a big current.
No wonder the turtles were hiding. I'd never seen so many black-tip sharks. Do you think the surfers know? And then it got so busy, we decided to leave. But I came back the following morning, a little bit later when the light was better, just before the crowds. And sometimes you really do see why a drone just gets that special view. It was time to leave the beach. We'd made a deliberate choice for our last 3 nights. Here's why Haritha Villas and why the timing mattered.
Day 50 on our Sri Lanka adventure. It's our last morning waking up on Hikkaduwa Beach. Yeah. We won't be hearing that sound. The crash of the waves like thunder, but hopefully we'll get monkeys and other things. Golly, that was a big one. We're trying to get some great shots of the surfers.
I had spent 3 mornings trying to capture the perfect drone shot. On our last morning, I saw this apparently abandoned surfboard. Then she appeared from beneath it after diving to the seabed. She waved and I realised I'd probably interrupted a quiet moment in the ocean. I still don't have the perfect shot, but I have something better. Loads of footage that taught me patience, which, it turns out, is how you find the best version of a place.
Sometimes when you choose a hotel, you're never sure whether it's going to work out. I like the name, Tropical House, jungle view. Listen to the calm. Birds, bees, and this most gorgeous tropical paradise. Look at this. So yeah, we're checking out of here in an hour. And once more packing. And then we move about a mile away, and just for the hell of it, because it's our last 2 nights, we splashed out. And I think it's going to be good to show the different types of places you could stay very close to each other. We would have done 4 hotels within about a 10-mile radius, and they really have been quite different. This is by far my favourite so far. So back to finish packing and then order a pick-me to go up the road.
By the time we arrived at Haritha Villas, we'd stayed at 5 boutique hotels in 8 nights. Each one chosen in the previous 24 hours, None planned 6 months in advance like the rest of our trip. Aretha was different. We chose it deliberately. 2 nights left before our flight to Mumbai. We wanted to end on a memory that would replace almost 3 weeks of cancellations and huge stress. There's no question, if you want pure indulgence in a discreet environment, this was the place that was going to give lasting pleasure and happy memories of our long stay in Sri Lanka. Like the train hotel in Khao Yai, and I'll leave a link in the description so you can find that, you need to get a good deal. We got a reasonable one and determined we were going to go out for dinner on the first night and just use their restaurant for breakfast, as it was included in the package. When we were walking down Hikkaduwa Beach just 24 hours before, I said we wouldn't hear the crashing of the waves and hoped to hear monkeys. Aretha Villas, only 10 minutes from town, did not disappoint. A typical dawn at Aretha, forest sounds, mist burning off as the sun rises, a coffee station in the villa with fresh tea leaves. This film is about what happened to us when we got stranded, not specifically a hotel review film. I will produce some specific films on some of the best hotels that we stayed at to give a little bit more detail for those who are interested, so subscribe so you don't miss it. 7:30 in the morning, our last morning in Sri Lanka, flights permitting and all of that. The staff here have been so kind, all of them, and it's just amazing when you interact with them. Any staff, anywhere, any country, you always get better service, and it's genuine. We're genuinely interested in their stories, they're genuinely interested in ours. And I had 4 of them come up to me, including the gardener this morning, asked me how I was, and then one guy knew I drink a double espresso in the morning, so just produced a double espresso for me. How about that? On our last morning, we were gently told checkout was at 11, which we did. Our flight wasn't until midnight, so we were invited to stay as long as we wanted. The staff kept us at the pool until the very last moment. Coconut water, ice lollies, a club sandwich in the afternoon. Nobody was going to let us leave unhappy. Took the drone out for one final flight. Found a spot on the road where the hotel was in full sun. A local on a moped stopped and offered me a lift to the main road. So this is great fun. Quite an adventure, unexpected. Completely spontaneous. What's your name? Completely unplanned. Pankaj. Yeah. Thank you. Have a great day. That's what these 17 days have been teaching us. I want to be direct. We'd stayed at exceptional big hotels on this trip. Villa Yana, Salmon Villas, Jetwing Blue, all well regarded. And yet, the hotels I want to go back to are all small, all boutique, all run by people who knew our names by day 2. What I've worked out is this: when a hotel has 200 rooms, your experience is a variable. When it has 8 villas, your experience is someone's personal project. Those are fundamentally different products. The Trip Worth It framework has a pillar called wellness and service. I think service is the wrong word for what boutique hotels do. It's not a service, it's attention. Those are not the same thing. Since our 4th night in the gunboat, we'd stopped unpacking. Not laziness, we'd just genuinely learned we'd been bringing far too much with us and trying to do too much. I build detailed itineraries, it's kind of my thing, I love it. And what these 17 days taught me is that the itinerary is the floor, not the ceiling. The structure gets you started. The best moments come when you're willing to bin the plan. The fishing boats we watched at dawn were not in any plan. The train to Kalutara was not in any plan. The guitarist playing my parents' wedding song was not in any plan. Haritha Villas was found at 11 o'clock at night on a phone in Hikkaduwa. If we'd been on schedule, if we'd gone home on the 26th of February, none of this would exist. I want to be careful here. It would be very easy to make this into a everything happens for a reason story. I'm not going to do that. British Airways and the Middle East crisis did not happen for our benefit. It was inconvenient, expensive, and at times genuinely stressful. What I can say is this: Sri Lanka showed us more of itself because we couldn't leave. And what it showed us changed 3 specific things. First, how we choose hotels. Boutique, owner-run, small, it's preferred. Second, how we build itineraries. We still plan. The planning matters. But now we leave deliberate gaps for the things we didn't know how to plan. Third, how we think about slow travel. It's not a lifestyle brand. It's just what happens when you stop treating destinations as checkboxes. Sri Lanka to the end was not going to make anything easy. When we arrived at the airport, we were marched into immigration and told we owed $350 for overstaying, despite having paid for a visa extension. 20 minutes to establish it was a computer coding error, passport stamps made our flight. And then, in Mumbai, we had a 12-hour layover, and unfortunately the lounge wouldn't miss us until 4 hours before departure. Our flight left at 1:30 in the afternoon, having landed at 2 in the morning. Transit hotel full, so $150 later just to be able to get into the lounge early.
We're heading for the flight to London Heathrow. After 54 days of travel, we finally get the chance to go home. And we're grateful for our little stay in Mumbai, 12 hours. A bit tricky to start off with. A bit tricky trying to get out of Sri Lanka, to be fair. But we've done it, and gate 78 beckons, and we're on our way.
Sri Lanka for us is not finished. We never found the leopard. We need to go back.